Born to Achieve. Born to Achieve. Welcome to Born to Achieve podcast, the show that inspires and motivates you to unlock your full potential and achieve your goals. With your host, Warren Andrew Pinder. Let's get started on this week's episode of Born to Achieve. Born to Achieve.
Is that, you touched on something so important. A lot of people blame, the young persons or what, the generation, that generation change. But literally, a lot of them haven't been introduced to culture, successful culture.
And they haven't been challenged.
They haven't been challenged. They haven't been challenged to understand. And it's not until they get in, they're smart. They have all the imagination they can express and find the ideas that put them today instantly in an environment of wealth. And then they realize that I have a problem because the culture, persons are not staying with them or not building with them because they don't believe in the vision.
Correct.
Right. So, So you want, help us now with this, I spoke a little about the blue sky, right? How persons listening today in their daily life to understand that their personal vision ties into their happiness, ties into their purpose, ties into their success of achieving whatever it is, the greatness that they are, that they have it within themselves to do this, and they can actually paint that picture.
Absolutely. So I think it starts with Walt Disney's favorite president, Abraham Lincoln, who has a show, Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, on Main Street at Disneyland in the Main Street Opera House. And that show is right next to the bench Walt was sitting on when he first had the idea of a place where parents and children can have fun together. It is Abraham Lincoln who once said, "You live the life you think about."
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say it again. You live the life you think about. And so your emotions and the results that you are or are not achieving start as a byproduct of your thinking. And then secondly, and I'm going to use Disneyland as an example here, when Walt was building the park, again, he's doing it for the purpose of telling stories. Well, he's accustomed to telling those stories on a soundstage in Hollywood. He has control of the environment. Well, now he's outdoors. Now he's 160 acres in an environment that he has zero control. So what's he going to do about that? Well, as they dredge out the rivers of America, they end up with 350 tons of dirt. They take that dirt and build an earthen berm anywhere from 12 to 20 feet around the perimeter of the park. And it's that berm that keeps the magic of the Magic Kingdom in, right, and the distractions of 25 million people in Southern California out. And so you have to ask yourself, what's your berm? Again, you live the life you think about, and have you put a berm around your thoughts, around your goals, around your dreams? Are you willing to protect them at any and all cost?
Yes. That I agree with wholeheartedly. And some persons would wonder, what is it that you're doing many times that they don't see? And then you like you said, without that berm, you basically you become timid and afraid, and literally set your dreams down. And now it's not going to work. I don't think it's going to work. And then you go and you talk to someone, like you said earlier, the right person being around you will encourage you. Or if you have the wrong person, they're gonna stare you and tell you it can't be done. But many great persons have fulfilled their vision through being encouraged with the right persons around you.
I think we need to surround ourselves with people who are going to encourage us, and we need to develop confidence as a muscle, because it really is a muscle, that when people doubt us, and when we do run into that resistance, when we do have those naysayers, instead of it discouraging us, it motivates and inspires us even more. Because if it were easy, everybody would do it, right?
That's so true.
And so one of my favorite stories, again, we had 2,000 amusement parks back in the 1950s. Around 1952, Walt's starting to get serious about this. He's starting to draw up the plans. He's starting to hire people to work on the project, not out of the amusement park industry, but out of his own studio in Burbank, California. And he sends them off to Chicago, Illinois, to an amusement park convention. And they show the experts in the industry what Walt is thinking for his design for a place called Disneyland. To a person, the experts hated it. Never going to work. We don't know what this old man is thinking. He has no business trying to break into this industry. Now, imagine if you're one of those early Imagineers. Imagine if you're an employee of Walt Disney and you've been sent to this convention, and now you've got to come home and deliver the bad news, right? I mean, that's not a fun place to be. Ironically enough, when Walt found out that the experts in the industry hated everything about his design for Disneyland, that's when he knew he was on the right track.
Wow.
That's when he knew he was about to achieve something great. Because again, he wasn't doing another amusement park. He was doing something completely new and completely different. I was in higher ed for 22 years, and people will ask me, well, what did you teach? And I'll tell them, first half of U.S. history, second half of U.S. history, American government, state and local government, writing for university success. Nobody cares. I mean, I'm looking at you right now, Warren. Your expression hasn't changed. You've got your wonderful helper, Dominique. Her expression hasn't changed. Because how many people out there teach those courses? Everybody. But when I say, and oh, by the way, I also taught a history of Disneyland, I can't get them to stop talking for the next 30 minutes.
I'm telling you.
Right?
Definitely.
So
man.
again, you have to have the courage to go after that medieval castle. You have to have the courage to do something very different and very distinct. And you have to have the courage to believe that even if you don't get it right the first time or the first 1,000 times, you're eventually going to find your way.
Thank you for joining today's podcast. We'll be right back.
Achieve Man, written by Warren Andrew Pinder and Dominique Bradford. This book passionately focuses on the challenges women have been made to go through and how to overcome them. In some cultures, being a woman disadvantages the girl child. This book carefully exposes the hurdles you might face. This masterpiece is the ultimate self-help guide for women. It reveals your true purpose and identity. Get your copy today. Available from Amazon.
We now return to today's podcast.
Let me ask you something. How do you, when we discuss culture, how do we encourage the Walt Disney model in our present jobs, life, church, wherever we want to make an impact?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it starts with story, and what I mean by that is, who doesn't love anything that begins with "Once Upon a Time," right?
Yeah.
And so recognizing that Walt most wanted to be remembered as a storyteller, and he built the park for that very purpose, we need to just be sharing the Walt Disney story. And it's not a story of a mouse and a princess and a park as much as it is a story of perseverance and a story of resiliency and a story of, overcoming obstacles. I ask my audiences all the time, what is required for a great story? Because we all love story, right? It's why we read books. It's why we go to the movies.
Yes.
It's why we keep going back to Disney over and over and over again.
Yeah.
We love story, but what's required for a great story? And we make the mistake of thinking, oh, the happily ever after ending. And that's just not true. Every great story, Warren, requires conflict.
Wow.
And until you embrace conflict, you're not telling, let alone living, your own great story. And so until you're willing to get up off your park bench, believe in yourself no matter what, and do things not because they're easy, but because they're hard, you don't have a story.
Yeah. Yeah. You're on with that. You're so right. I had an opportunity, you're talking about the Disney Magic Cruise and so forth, and I had an opportunity to experience the difference. And what you're speaking about right now is the experience that you get when you go on a Disney Magic cruise line.
Oh,
You know, the vacation that you, you know, the eye for detail, the story that's told. And when you come off
cleanliness.
Disney Magic, you will tell the story. You know,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. So I love, Disney content. I obviously love going to the parks, whether it's Disneyland in our backyard or, Walt Disney World. We find ourselves in Florida about every other month. The cruises are far and away my favorite way to
yeah,
experience anything Disney. I'm very blessed. I've been on the Wonder, been on the Dream, I've been on the Fantasy, I've been on the Wish, and they're unbelievable. But again, we had cruises before we had the Disney Cruise Line. Taking a
exactly.
cruise was one of Walt Disney's favorite way to vacation.
Yes.
And Disney stepped in and said, we can do this, but we can do it way better. And they do.
Jeff, you have enlightened, the audience of this show in such a profound way on this episode. I can't. I mean, I wish we could go on. Give us your last words. I mean, like literally, you've been knocking it out the park, like real, right? Just tell. I know some persons want to hear some more, but give them something that they can hold on to it, in this belief of understanding that their imagination is so powerful that they are able, and in that regard, I'm saying the same thing. Like, that's what Achieveland is to us. Achieveland is that we believe that all of us are born to be great, and we're trying to share that message. And what you have done, the greatness that you have brought to this show right now, like, help them to really understand what we're sharing.
Sure.
Back us up a little bit.
I'll share probably my favorite Walt Disney quote. The best way to get something done is to stop talking, which is what we're going to do here in a minute.
Exactly.
And start doing. The best way to get something done is to stop talking and start doing. So for those of us who are listening, and you've got that idea, you've got that dream, your imagination has been playing for days, weeks, months, years, accept this challenge. Stop thinking about it, stop dreaming about it, stop talking about it, and take one small step toward it. Today, tomorrow, and every day after. And if you are consistent with it, even just a few minutes a day, you won't recognize your life or your dream 6 months from now. I promise you.
Yes, and that challenge goes out to all you listening today. Mr. Jeff Barnes, I want to thank you so much for all that you've brought here today. I've learned a lot. Just the exciting story of Walt Disney. I'm a proponent, and I believe that, the imagination, our thoughts, what we think is what we become. I truly believe that. And you have just, helped me to continue to be inspired, to inspire others, that they too will grasp, the understanding of thought become things.
I can't wait to see everyone who's listening to this in Achievement Land one day.
Definitely. But what I need you to do is to drop your handles, and if persons want to reach out to you, some of your seminars, please share with them.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So if we can put in the chat, just let us know where they can find you, where they can find the information, if they don't have a question or want to invite you to speak to them or something.
All right. You can find me at thewisdomofwalt.com, and I'm going to drop a link to that.
Thewisdomofwalt.com.
Yep. And there you'll find my email address.
Great. We got it.
You can sign up for my free weekly Wednesdays with Walt blog. If you're wanting stories like what we've talked about today that can inspire you and motivate you and encourage you, every single week it's 100% free. And you can find out more about my books, my workshops, my training, my seminars, because I'm on a mission here. And, one of the stories I didn't get a chance to share is...
No, please do. Please do. Share it. Please do.
Oh, okay. So the day after I gave the first lecture, the first time I taught my History of Disneyland course, I was diagnosed with a life-threatening brain tumor.
Oh, wow.
And they wanted to operate immediately, and recovery was a minimum of 2 months. And I refused, because the course wasn't about the park. It was about what? Obstacles.
Yeah.
and difficulties and resiliency and perseverance. This was a chance, Warren, for me to not just teach it, but to actually live it, right? And so again, you have to be willing to overcome those obstacles, to do hard and difficult things. And so I share that personal story in my keynotes so that people recognize, I'm not just this Disney adult going to Disney all the time, living this, la kind of land. Like everybody else, I face my own challenges, my own difficulties. And I've made the decision, because it is a decision, to persevere and keep moving forward.
Oh, wow.
Now for a commercial break.
Achieve Men, written by Warren Andrew Pinder. In this book, you will learn the 7 steps to achieving your dreams and goals. Given the vision to share how the acronym of the word achieve can be used systematically in your day-to-day life. Each of us is given a unique gift from God. Get your copy today. Available in print, ebook, and audiobook from Amazon.
We now return to today's podcast.
Jeff, like you said, book that I wrote, and my story is that I woke up one morning and the word achieve, which is like attacking me, and I'm like, why this word wouldn't jump out of my head, achieve. And literally, the letter A became action, and the letter C was like, you have to chart a new course. You if you're doing something wrong, chart a new course. And H was just as you said, identifying those hurdles, the hurdles that in your way. I believe I struggled with I a bit, trying to figure out what is it? What is it? What was the I for? And then I really, you better become intense. If you want this, you better try and find it. You got to go, intensify. And the E just dropped right into that effort, always putting that 100% effort.
Love it.
And literally, the V was like values. And I'm not talking about dollar. I'm thinking, good morning, hard work, thank you. Values based on what life is about. And I could not find the E. I honestly could not find the word for the E. And it just said, if I did all the subsequent steps, all the preceding steps, if I was able to go from the A to the C to the H to the I to the E to the V, you will earn whatever it is that you imagine you can achieve.
Yep. And you don't deserve it till you get to the end of all of those steps.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Love it.
And that's what I wrote in that book.
Yeah. I want to give you credit for I, which you identified as being the letter that you struggled with, intensity. Yes. People don't realize, and this is fresh in mind because the 70th anniversary was last week, Disneyland was built in exactly 1 year.
Wow.
Now that's intense.
Wait now. You gotta help us here. You gotta say that again. When you say built, when you say Disneyland, you're talking Disneyland in
California. That. They broke ground. So Walt has this idea in the 1940s, but he's got to get through a strike. He's got to get through World War II. He's got to get through putting the studio back on its feet after World War II. And then, he has to go from Burbank, where he originally wanted to build it, but they don't want anything to do with an amusement park, to finding the land in Anaheim. And then he has to buy it, right? Yeah. And they finally break ground in July of 1954. And they opened exactly 1 year later. And it was crazy. And it was chaotic. And it was intense. And it's the only way we get the first Disney park open. Today, Disney couldn't open a Starbucks in a year, but they managed to do the first park in 365 days. And that's so my first book. I've been wanting to write that book for 20 years. I had every excuse in the world. I don't know how, who would publish it. Woe is me. Nobody would buy it. How would I market it? How would I sell it? And then after I survived the brain tumor, I wrote it in 142 days. We went from 20 years to 142 days intensity.
I believe it. And I'll share with you, I wrote my book in 6 weeks.
There you
night
go.
After night, getting up in 6 weeks. Literally, it was something burning inside, a passion inside to get this message out. It was just so intense. And I understand what you're saying. But let's go back. You say Walt Disney built in a year. the technology in 1950, you said 1954?
Yep.
Project management. You could imagine the coordination. That have me a bit, that have me like a little lost in a year.
Oh, yeah. They had to clear the orange trees and flatten the land and lay the foundations and lay the pavement and, dredge out the river and build castles and pirate ships and jungle cruises. And they did it all in a year.
So you realize he had to have everyone. The culture was on that site. Everyone was believing. In order for that to have happened, man, everyone had to have a serious buy-in to know that, hey, we got to do this. We want to see. That's beyond making money.
Oh, yeah.
That's beyond making money.
So much. So the reason why the castle at the end of Main Street in Disneyland is called Sleeping Beauty Castle is because that's the movie they were working on while they were building the park. And Walt finally had to pull people off of the film to help build the theme park. And so it gets delayed and doesn't premiere until 1959. And so to help promote the movie that got delayed because of the intensity of constructing Disneyland, they decided to name the castle not Snow White Castle, not Cinderella Castle, Sleeping Beauty Castle, because it was all hands on deck during that 1 year of intensity.
Oy. Oh man, that's powerful. That's such a lesson. That's such a lesson to learn.
And so we need intense seasons of no in our life. And what I mean by that is if you're going to say yes to your goal, yes to your dream, yes to your success, go all in.
Yes.
Right? And in going all in, you're saying no, right? Building that burn, no to everything else.
Yes. You just put no one, just disregard what's around you. Because you believe, you can see a vision of success.
Absolutely. No, when they opened Walt Disney World, and Walt passed away from lung cancer 6 months before they even broke ground in Florida. That happened in May of 1967, and it took them 5 years to build Walt Disney World versus the 1 year for Disneyland. And the day they opened it in October of 1971, someone made a comment that it's a shame Walt Disney did not live to see this.
Wow.
And somebody responded back, you don't understand. Walt Disney did see all of this. It's the only reason it's here.
It's here. Oh, yeah. He did. He saw it. He saw it. The difference between him being there and building it in a year and someone, his student building it in 5 years. Did they learn? What did they get? Or it took them a while to get the message.
Well, to be fair to the folks who picked up the pieces after Walt's death, Walt Disney World was just a much bigger and different project.
Okay.
Like it's one thing to construct Disneyland out of an orange grove 30 miles south of one of the largest cities in the United States, Los Angeles.
Right.
It's another to build it out of a swamp.
I understand. I believe it. Yes.
In the middle of what, like, nobody lived in Central Florida back in the mid 1960s.
Yes.
And so like they had to build the infrastructure before they could even build the park.
I understood.
But they're doing hotels now, and right,
yeah.
And it's not just the Rivers of America, like Seven Seas Lagoon. That's not real. Like they built that. They drained it. Like they made that happen.
Wow. And you have just so eloquently just tied this right into life. So one's life, the lessons of Walt Disney.
So let's go back to thinking. Because again, you live the life you think about. The park Walt wanted to build in Burbank that the city council told him no was anywhere from 8 to 16 acres. He builds Disneyland on 160 acres. Walt Disney World, 27,440 acres.
Wow.
150 times the size. So how are you going to go with whoever you are and whatever you do? Think about going from 8 acres to 160 to 27,440. And the only thing that's stopping you is your own limited thinking and your own limiting beliefs.
Exactly. Jeff, that's such, oh man, this has been so surreal. I commend you for sharing this with us. I am so happy to have had you as a guest on this episode of the
it's
Born
been
to
my
Achieve
honor.
Greatness show. I just cannot say, and I wish I could invite you back. If because I'm sure some other things.
Do it.
Definitely, we'll invite you back. We will invite you back. The less.
Walt hated sequels, but we can do a part 2.
Oh, definitely. I'm going to take you up on that, sir. I'm going to take you up on that, and I to the audience, this is what we're talking about. Jeff Barnes have just shared the successes of Walt Disney and his personal success, and this is our hope. This is what we believe in. This is our vision, that you would do the same. Share with whomever it is that they may be inspired and motivated to do the same. Sharing with others that you don't know the next great idea or how you would affect or help someone else. This is the vision of Achieve Movement Inc. and the Born to Achieve Greatness show. That is why we do what we do this every week. Thank you, Jeff. You've been listening to the Born to Achieve Greatness podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Born to Achieve. Born to Achieve. We hope you found it informative, inspiring, and motivating. Born to Achieve. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and family. Stay focused on your goals, and we'll see you on the next episode of Born to Achieve.
Take advantage of this incredible opportunity. Sign up today and claim your free ebook at www.borntoachievegreatness.com. Follow us on Facebook at Achieve Movement Inc. Get your copy of Exploring Achieveland, A Journey to Realize Your Dreams, Motivational Stories of Kindness, Inspiring Stories for Kids on Amazon and Kindle.